Thank you, Vice Chair. Moving ahead, the board meeting of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey and its component units is now being called to order. On October 16th, the Committees on Finance and Operations met jointly in executive session. Earlier today, the Committees on Finance met in public session, and the Committee on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management met in public and executive session. The reports will be filed with the official minutes of today's board meeting. The Commissioners also met in executive session earlier today, to discuss matters related to the purchase, sale, or lease of real property where disclosure would affect the value thereof or the public interest, matters related to the personnel and personnel procedures, and matters involving ongoing negotiations or reviews of contracts or proposals, and to discuss and act upon matters related to security or public safety. We begin today's public meeting by, on a somber note. We have recently lost two of our family members in the Port Authority family. We lost Jack Brewster, who passed away at the end of September. Jack served as a dedicated administrator for the Port Authority Employment Relations Panel for over 16 years. He played an integral role in the relationship between agency management and the collective bargaining agreements that represent thousands of Port Authority employees. Jack was known for his kindness, his resourcefulness, and his passion for his work, and he'll be sorely missed by us and by his coworkers and his family. We also note, sadly, that we lost Michael DiGiovanni, an assistant signal repairman in the Path Power Signals and Communication Division. Michael was literally 1 month shy of his 13-year anniversary with the agency. He'll be remembered for his humor, laughter, and he brought during his break times. And he was also he was known for making sure that everybody around him was in a safe environment. And he was going to be missed by his colleagues. And I ask everyone to stand for a moment of silence for Jack and Michael. Thank you. And before we go on to the pressing agenda for today, I think it's important. I think the board, Rick Cotton, the Executive Director, think it's important that we take time to recognize those in our Port Authority family who go above and beyond. We have 3 police officers here who had gone through a very terrifying incident on George Washington, which we're going to hear from shortly. I think it's important when we have these moments when these officers and the men and women who protect us go above and beyond, that we say thank you, we recognize them, praise them for their bravery, wish you well in your recovery, and let you know that we appreciate everything you've done. So we've asked them to come here today. The 3 patrolmen, if the superintendent, Ed Setnar, can come up and talk about the actual horror that unfolded on George Washington, and we're going to get up, and I think all the commissioners and the executive director will come up and congratulate them and present them with a certification. Ed?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Director, and Commissioners. As you said, this incident could have been a whole lot worse, and we'd be telling a different story right now if it was not for the training and dedication that these 3 officers completed that day. Police Officer Michael Carrera, Police Officer Vincent LeConte, and Police Officer Joseph Romano. Please stand, guys. On October 13th of 2024, just before 3 a.m. in the morning, there was an armed carjacking that happened in South Hackensack Township in New Jersey. A short time later, the vehicle that was carjacked found its way to the George Washington Bridge and became disabled, with numerous reports and calls coming in that the car was driving on 3 wheels. At one point, the vehicle ended up stopping, whether it became disabled or the person inside the vehicle decided that it was no longer being able to operate or make their way through the traffic. At that point, Police Officer Joe Romano was dispatched for the disabled vehicle, unknowingly aware of what was going to transpire seconds later. This happened on the upper level of the New Jersey side. As I said, the vehicle was being operated on 3 wheels at the time. As Police Officer Romano pulled up to the scene, the vehicle's operator quickly exited the stolen vehicle and ran over the carjacked vehicle and started pounding on the police officer's vehicle. As Police Officer Romano started to exit, Police Officer Carrera arrived on the scene to assist him. As they attempted to encounter the subject ran around to the passenger side door of our patrol car, dove into our patrol car, and attempted to steal our patrol car, which would have been a further escalation of potential violence or safety to the people traversing across the bridge. At that time, without hesitation, Police Officer Carrera dove through the driver's side window of the patrol car, and as you see, he's not a small person. He told me on the phone he didn't know how he fit through the window.
Is that a nice thing to say?
I'm just telling you what he repeated to me, Chairman. But with his quick instinct and his quick, bold actions as diving through, trying to mitigate the problem and wrestle with this person. What was unknown at the time that the subject was armed with a knife, and he attempted to stab our officer numerous times, and he did cause lacerations on his face, on his cheek, underneath his nose, and nearly penetrated his eyeball. For the luck of our officers, God was with them that day, and the other two officers quickly jumped in the side of the patrol car, assisted Police Officer Correa in apprehending the subject, arresting him, and then bringing him into our offices for processing. Bergen County prosecutor, along with our detectives, filed the charges, and they were filed with attempted murder, first degree attempted armed robbery, first degree carjacking, second degree attempted carjacking, second degree possession of a weapon, third degree aggravated assault, third degree receiving stolen property to motor vehicle, third degree resisting arrest, possession of a weapon, and drug paraphernalia. As I said, our goal is to get our men and women home each and every day. If it was not for the quick actions of these officers and able to subdue the subject, they were able to apprehend him, received injuries in it, and we know they're not serious, but they could have been a whole lot worse. And I thank the board for recognizing our officers because this is the things that go on each and every day, unfortunately, in society. So congratulations to them, and again, thank you to the board.
Superintendent, I spoke to them the next day, and you could just hear it in their voices. They were a little shocked. They're obviously proud. And, you know, one of them said, I just thought I was going to die for that moment. When you hear those words as a commissioner, like, they're laying it on the line every single day. And I know the assailant tried to steal another car and carjack another car, and who knows where that would have gone, but for these three. So the officers, we brought you here because we want to thank you in person and want to recognize your bravery and your courage, and we're going to get up and give a presentation, but more importantly, we want to just let you know we got your back. We thank you for everything you do. Appreciate it. Officers want to face this way, we'll just do a quick presentation. So just scatter these three process on. The folks come on this way, but they're this way. A little more towards the center. A little more towards the center. All right. Perfect. 3, 2, 1. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, folks. Appreciate you. At this time, we recognize our Executive Director, Rick Cotton, to provide his report. Rick?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I also want to start out my report taking note of the bravery of the three officers who we just applauded and who we honored a few moments ago, and to thank them and their brave colleagues across the Port Authority Police Department for their service. And while I'm in the business of thank yous, I also want to extend my thank you, as I try to do each month, to all of the employees and staff of the Port Authority. It is their dedication and their commitment to discharge their duties that allows the agency to provide the services that it does. And also, we continue to be thankful. 2/3 of our employees are represented, and we continue to be grateful to the leaders of those unions for their partnership and hard work as we move the agency's agenda along. With respect to my report itself, I want to start with some exciting news hot off the presses as of 48 hours ago. I'm pleased, in fact, I'd say I'm delighted to report that the Forbes Travel Guide, based on a survey of 5,000 travel experts and seasoned travelers who they selected as part of their survey, has awarded LaGuardia the Forbes 2024 Airport Award as the best airport in the United States of America. So in the past, LaGuardia has been routinely in what is now becoming the distant past, but came in last in any and every passenger rating or survey. So the words cellar dweller, laughing stock, worst in class were frequently applied to LaGuardia. I'm happy to say I think we've now made the transition. The Forbes Travel Guide Award as the best airport in the U.S. is really extremely gratifying. And this news matches up with the quality of the new Terminal A at Newark Liberty Airport and with the release of our vision plan for the future of Newark Liberty. These together provide recognition and ratification of our efforts on both sides of the river to set absolutely the highest standard possible in terms of the transformation of all of our Port Authority airports. Now I want to report to the board on the performance of our facilities during September of 2024. I'll start with the airports. This month, our three large airports continue to set new records with respect to passenger volumes. Overall, the three major airports set a collective record for the month of September, with a total of nearly 12 million passengers passing through them. And that's approximately 77,000 passengers above the previous record set last September. With respect to the individual airports, JFK and LaGuardia set new monthly records for total passengers, and Newark set a monthly record with respect to the volume of international passengers. Now, with respect to PATH really showed significant forward movement in September. PATH's ridership jumped significantly. Our CFO took note that volumes this month were the highest levels that we have seen since the onset of the pandemic. PATH ridership increased by 6 full percentage points to 74% of pre-COVID levels. Prior to September, PATH ridership had been stuck at about 66% for the past several months. Interestingly, the weekend ridership continues to be extremely strong, with both Saturday and Sunday ridership now having recovered their 2019 levels. At the Seaport turned in another very strong monthly performance with more than 25% higher cargo levels than September of 2019, and year-to-date, the Seaport is the second busiest in the country based on loaded containers. Finally, our 4 bridges and 2 tunnels continue to show strong volumes exceeding September of 2019. Brief update on the Midtown bus terminal replacement, which we continue to press forward with really unprecedented speed in terms of getting through what are elaborate gates in the pre-construction permitting. Our $10 billion replacement project took a very important step forward in the local New York City permitting process when the City Planning Commission voted unanimously to approve the application at their public hearing last week. The ULIRC application now moves to the City Council for consideration before advancing to the mayor for the final approval. A word about JFK Terminal 8. We made a very gratifying and important announcement earlier this month in partnership with American Airlines and Unibail URW Airports. What they announced at Terminal 8 was a $125 million commercial redevelopment program. As part of this program, 21 new dining, retail, and entertainment brands, including 13 local and diverse businesses, will be featured in the newly expanded terminal. Our emphasis on locally owned and diverse businesses is a key part of our airport redevelopment programs. A brief note, further note on the seaport. As most know, commissioners, on Tuesday, October 1st, the ILA went on strike at port facilities across the east and Gulf coasts. The strike ended after 3 days when a tentative agreement on wages was reached on October 3rd. Now, during this 3-day secession, a backlog of 35 ships built up in our harbor or just outside our harbor. Vessel operations at our terminals resumed on Friday following the resolution of the wage issue with the ILA and the terminal operators and carriers. The backlog of ships at that point was 35 ships either at anchor in our harbor or slow steaming just outside our harbor. We are thankful for the fact that all of our employees and our port partners working together cleared that entire backlog of ships by Tuesday, October 15th. We thank them for their efforts across the board. Now, there are 3 of our standards which I think we don't talk about enough, but I just want to tick off in the area of sustainability, in the area of technology and innovation, and in the area of diversity and inclusion. Just several examples which happened to coincide during this past month. With respect to sustainability and a new solar array at JFK, New Terminal 1. During Climate Week this past month, the Port Authority and the New Terminal 1 Consortium announced that construction has begun on the largest solar array in New York City. The array, which will also be the largest at any airport terminal in the country, will consist of approximately 13,000 solar panels atop New Terminal 1's roof. This solar array will generate 6.6 megawatts of electricity for the airport and is part of a broader 12-megawatt microgrid that will distribute electric energy from solar, fuel cells, and batteries through a localized and self-contained energy system. This clean technology provides resilience for the terminal and its passengers while advancing the agency's aggressive sustainability goals to reach net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. On the technology and innovation front, this past Saturday, the Port Authority conducted a pilot involving our innovation hub, which is completely devoted to sustaining and fostering innovation within the Port Authority. Worked with Delta Airlines to test out a specialized so-called taxi bot, TUG. This technology will allow airplanes to be towed from the gate to the runway without having to start up their engines until they reach the actual runway. If used at scale, this new TUG technology has the potential to reduce greenhouse gas emissions from airplanes dramatically while they are on the ground. On Saturday, October 19th, the demonstration involved the movement of a 747 airplane between Hangar 19 and Hangar 12 at JFK Airport. The point of the pilot was to demonstrate the ability to safely operate the tug and to meet any and all safety requirements that would have to be issued by the FAA as a key partner in assessing and permitting this technology. We are committed across the board to be leaders in innovation and to adopt cutting-edge technology wherever we can, and certainly cutting-edge technology that aids our sustainability objective. Finally, with respect to diversity and inclusion, on September 19th, the Conference of Minority Transportation Officials hosted a special New York gala and recognized the Port Authority for the agency's work in promoting inclusivity and advancing equity in the transportation sector. COMTO has been a steadfast partner in our commitment to support and grow minority-owned businesses and to provide opportunities and tangible economic benefits to the communities neighboring our facilities. We are delighted that an organization of COMTO's standing has recognized our efforts. Mr. Chairman, with that, I conclude my report.
Thank you, Mr. Executive Director. A lot going on. Your issue about the port strike, and we talked about an executive, I just think that we, the board, don't do enough to cite the extraordinary contributions of our employees. Beth Ann Rooney, in particular, was the head of the coordination, working with Greg Erie and working with Ed, working with the executive director, working with maintenance to make sure that the striking workers were going to be safe, they're going to be respected, they're going to be in a place where there wasn't going to cause any chaos and safety issues. And that was a tense few days, but I really think we got to congratulate Beth, her leadership, Amy Fisher, and those folks that made this whole thing possible without any real confrontation that we've seen in the past during these difficult times. So hats off to those folks. Really appreciate the effort, and we got through a very difficult place, and we came out and you know, there was a reflection on what we contributed as the Port Authority, and it was meaningful, and I'm glad the strike was resolved. Ships are back in activity, everyone's working, and there's harmony back in the back in the ports as well. We'll now provide an opportunity for members of the public to comment on Port Authority matters. The public comment period, which may be limited for 30 minutes, provides an opportunity for members of the public to present their views directly to the board. It does not provide for a dialogue. Members of the public wishing to discuss a specific issue should reach out to our staff, and they'll contact Public Affairs, and we will have someone get back to them immediately. Speakers are asked to comply with the fixed time of about 3 minutes. We have 9 speakers. First of all, I want to confirm, are there any written or video statements?
There are none.
Great. Jason Anthony, first one. Welcome, Jason.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Jason Anthony here from the Long Island Railroad ADA Task Force. This month, I brought you guys some wonderful evidence from it should be called the Lincoln Tunnel Bus Terminal. Some pictures that I took yesterday from the terminal, which it shows the lack thereof improvements that should be done. For example, signages that confuses people when the escalator that goes from the second to the first floor, like this one right here, during the rush hour, especially during the PM rush, the escalator goes up only, and the weekends is completely shut. This sign right here, it says certain rules inside the terminal. But yours truly saw this. A person riding a electric scooter inside the terminal in the second floor. No police present. An escalator in the south wing, non-functional. a confused signage near the PNC Bank. A homeless person inside the terminal. Regarding accessibility, it is totally disgraceful as a New Yorker that was born and raised that we don't see projects regarding accessibility. I wonder if you guys in this room, especially the board members and your chief development officer, knows a person named Edith Prentice. Because it is so unfortunate that you guys care more about New Jersey than New York. Especially, right, board member Kelly? Because guess what? Newsflash. Kathleen Hochul Courtney is about to give us congestion pricing.
Thank you, Jason. Can you hand those pictures to the officer and she'll hand them to the clerk? Thank you very much. Next speaker is Craig Singleton. Craig Singleton, thank you. Craig Singleton's the next one listed, I'm sorry. You're about 4 away, Chris. All right.
Good morning, Commissioners. How you doing?
How you doing?
My name is Craig Singleton. I'm a warehouse worker at EWR Newark Airport. I'm also a father of 4 children, grandfather of 11. My grandkids' age range from 4 to 23. I have worked at Newark Airport over 25 years and have seen the progression of Newark Airport from People Express to what we have now. I remember a time when my wages were so low, but throughout the years they have, steadily increased. But due to COVID pandemic, the wages have stayed kind of stagnant for the time being. Getting the $25 an hour would be a blessing to me. I have worked 2 jobs for the past 23 years. I work at Newark Airport from 1 o'clock in the afternoon to 7:30 at night. Then I work at night from 10:30 to 7 in the morning. I have worked 2 jobs for the past 22 years. Yeah, and getting the raise would cut back on me working so many, hours and everything, spend more time with my grandkids. Because as anybody here that's a grandparent know, grandkids trump children.
Everybody says that.
Yeah. I took 5 of my grandkids to Comic-Con Sunday. While they was enjoying themselves, I was walking around like a deadhead. I was tired. 'Cause Jacob Jefferson, as everybody know, is very, very big. So, a couple of times I have to do the bill shuffle. The bill shuffle is pay the one that's about to be due, let the other ones linger for a minute, and then they become the extremely one later on. I know Port Authority can be taking the action to increase the airport workers' wages. We just ask for the same leadership as before, years before. We just need to take the action now so that the airport, workers could just stop doing the bill shuffle as I do. Lastly, I would like to share a tagline that I made up myself. EWR is everybody needs respect. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. Appreciate it. Jesus Lemmel? Jesus Lemmel? No? No Jesus Lemmel? Okay. Vladimir Claire June?
Afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you for letting me speak here today. All right, good afternoon. My name is Vladimir Clay June. I'm a wheelchair agent at JFK. I'm also a father of 6. I've got a 15-year-old, a 14-year-old, 2 12-year-old twin boys, a 10-year-old, and a 3-week-old. I love my children. Everything I do is to make our lives better, their lives better. As a wheelchair agent, I make sure the passengers get from their planes to their loved ones. On any given day, you never know how many wheelchairs you're going to get. Sometimes there'll be 10 of us pushing 40 wheelchairs at a time, but we make it happen. because without us, the passengers don't move, and neither does the airport. We make it happen day in and day out without any hiccups. I've worked at JFK for 17 years, and I'm thankful to have the wage increases that we've gotten over the last couple of years. But then the pandemic hit and inflation hit, so now our wages don't go as far anymore. I understand that JFK has had a record number of visitors, and that means our work has increased and our work has become even more essential. At the same time, investments are being made to upgrade our airports.
We should look into that.
All over JFK, you see the signs highlighting the $19 billion investment into the new terminal, and it's great, but we need to invest. We need investment into our airports, but we also need to make investment in the folks that help the airport run. We can't just have shiny new terminals without investing in the workers. And if we want a world-class experience for our passengers, airport workers also need to have higher wages. Higher wages would allow workers like myself to keep up with the cost of living and stay in our jobs long term. If I got the raise to $25 an hour, it would allow me to keep up with my bills. I wouldn't have to rely on my credit cards to take care of daily living expenses for myself and my children's school expenses. And I wouldn't have to relive the times when I've only been able to cover my rent with it and have a few dollars left. I recently got a car to be able to get to work a lot more easily and to get my children from one place to another, but that comes with additional expenses, car payment, insurance, and gas. I'd love to be able to take my kids on a family vacation. I think that'd be fair for airport workers to be able to travel the same airports that we service. And I have to tell you that it really sucks to be on vacation and not be able to afford to take that vacation. We appreciate the investments you're making, and then we ask that you invest in us, the airport workers, and do it soon because we can't wait much longer.
Thank you very much, Walter. Great. Christopher. Welcome back, Christopher.
Thank you. As you know, I have to sometimes attend my other meetings the same times as your meetings. It's Transit Riders Council. That's why there are times you'll see Jason Anthony or Debbie, aka my mother, or Ann. Fortunately, Ann is not here. She'll be feeling better and resting. As I'm going to say, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Christopher D. Greif. As an advocate for disability, member of Transit Riders Council, actor, and the Railroad Accessibility member. I also want to be very clear. As I'm hearing a lot of the projects and things that we've been doing, and I've been seeing, and this gentleman who was just here mentioning, accessibility is the key we need to hear. And a lot of the projects I love to hear, and I'm glad we're doing the airports, but there's one thing I don't hear in our capital projects: accessibility. What are we going to do for the ramps, braille, lighting, elevators, anything with LD lighting? I have here from other transportation other divisions mentioning accessibility. That could be seniors and people with disabilities. I want to see more about when projects comes in. I'm glad I'm seeing it, but I'd like to see more. I'd like to see accessibility for reduced fare prices for disabilities, our veterans who can't get on the air train, who can't get on the PATH trains because they can't get on. But a senior can, thank God. My mother can get on, my cousin Ann can get on, but I can't, or any other veterans. There was supposed to be promised a meeting, and I've been waiting patiently and always respectful, but I'm just asking, can we please have a meeting to work some ideas as we're in the 21st century to get more accessibility? As I'm wearing this Omni shirt, and it does represent the subways and yes, the air train, we need to make sure reduced fare does come into this. The budget is important, accessibility is important, seniors and people with disabilities need to use the transit system. They want to go to the mall across the Hudson, they want to go to Newark, to maybe switch to other trains. And let's also remember, 14th Street is going to be fully accessible. Let's work with the MTA as well as 23rd Street and 6th Avenue to get combined and accessible stations on the path. We need to make sure we get those done. And accessibility is an important thing to do. As I've been doing this for now almost 31 years, I want to see more accessibility. As Jason mentioned earlier, Edith Prentice was an advocate for also transportation. She passed away 3 years ago. I have made this promise to keep continuing fighting for accessibilities. There is a video on her on street naming. She fought the 175th Street station on the A that has a plaque. Right now it's being renovated, thank God. But we still need to continue working on accessibility. So I'm asking the Port Authority to please work with us together as one. Thank you.
Christopher, thank you. Hope your mom and aunt are doing okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Brandon Burstein. Brandon, come on up. And the last one is Malachi Glass after that. Brandon, welcome.
Well, thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Brandon Burston. I've worked in sanitation and utilities for OTG at LaGuardia Airport for 8 years. I am also a member of Unite Here Local 100, and I lived in Queens, New York. Airport workers like myself work incredibly hard, and I worked full-time and long hours. But it is very expensive to live in New York area. I am paying right now $1,000, and my fiance, who works as a home care attendant, is paying also the same amount, $1,000. And it takes both of our paychecks to pay the rent and other bills. I have Medicaid for health care, and if I didn't have that low-cost health care, I wouldn't go out with other necessities. An increase in the minimum wage would mean that I don't have to worry about having enough money to pay the electric bill or grocery bill. And an increase in minimum wage would mean that I might have something extra at the end of the month so that I could save and invest in my future. Airport workers need the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey to do three things. First, we need a minimum wage of $25 for all airport and airline catering workers. Second, we need to guarantee a parity in health insurance, vacation, and holiday standards for New York and New Jersey. Airport workers in New York should not be left behind in New Jersey. And third, we need to make sure that these benefits include concession workers like myself at LaGuardia and JFK airports, and we have excluded for no good reason. These actions by the Port Authority would improve lives of so many other hardworking airport workers. Thank you for listening to us.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Malachi Glass. Malachi, if I got that right? Malachi. Sorry about that.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Malachi Glass. I'm a member of Unite Local 100. I work at JFK Airport as a non-tip server in the Centurion Lounge operated by Sodexo. I've been working at the Centurion Lounge for a little over a year now, and since I've started working at 18, I've bounced around to different jobs to find better pay. I've also had to move a lot to find an affordable rent for myself. Today I live in Queens and pay $1,200 a month for a studio apartment that barely fits my mattress and a dresser for myself. I have many years of working ahead of me, and I like working at the airport, and I'd like to make a career out of it and develop my skills and further myself in the airport. Business is consistent at the airport, and we work hard to provide a good service for airport passengers, and in return, airport jobs need to provide consistency for us. So we have not just a job, but a career. The airport never stops, so we need more pay. We need more paid time off when we need to rest or when we get sick. Here's what we're asking for from the Port Authority: a raise of the minimum wage for all airport workers to a family-sustaining wage of $25 an hour, and extended to the Port Authority's Health Terminals Act to include concession workers, as myself, at the New York airports, and a guaranteed parity in health insurance, vacation, and holiday standards between New York and New Jersey. Airport workers at JFK and LaGuardia deserve the same pay as airport workers in New York. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Malachi. Our last speaker, Lenore Jesus. Lenore Jesus, with the translator? Great. Thank you.
Buenas tardes. Así. Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Leonor Jesús.
My name is Leonor Jesús.
Tengo 24 años trabajando en el aeropuerto John F. Kennedy como limpiadora. A través de estos 24 años he visto la modernización del aeropuerto, cómo ha cambiado de un edificio viejo a un edificio lujoso. Han invertido millones en dólares en renovación y modernización del aeropuerto, pero mi salario me pone debajo de la clase media. Y para mí es difícil pagar mi recibo y poner comida en la mesa.
I have been working as a cleaner at JFK for 24 years. Over those 24 years, I have seen the modernization of the airport, how it has changed from an old building to a luxurious building. Billions of dollars have been invested in renovations and modernization of the airport, but my salary still puts me below the middle class. And for me, it is difficult to pay my bills and put food on the table.
$19 por hora no es suficiente porque el consumo diario ha subido demasiado precio. Empezando con mi renta, la cual ha subido desde 600 al mes a 1.300 al mes. He tenido un aumento en el costo del tren.
$19 an hour is not sufficient because the daily cost of living has increased dramatically. Starting with my rent, which has increased from $600 a month to $1,300 a month. And I am paying more to take the train to work.
Cada mes tengo que obtener 2 tarjetas, una del tren regular y otra por el AirTren. Cuando voy al supermercado, llevo cupones en la mano para así extender más el dinero. Cuando veo un descuento de $2 o $3, mi corazón palpita de felicidad porque hace una diferencia para mí.
Every month I have to buy 2 train cards, one for the subway at a cost of $132 and another for the AirTrain for $42. When I go to the supermarket, I take coupons with me to be able to make my money stretch further. When I see a discount of $2 or $3, I am happy because it makes a big difference for me.
También tengo que pagar el recibo de luz, el teléfono, entre otros. A fin de mes, tengo que decidir cuál recibo voy a pagar primero. Y no me queda dinero para mi cuidado personal.
I also have to pay my light bill and my phone bill, among others. At the end of the month, I have to decide which bill I am going to pay first, and that leaves me with no money for my personal care.
En total, mis gastos para una vida básica son demasiado altos. Por esa razón necesitamos el aumento salarial urgente. Un aumento salarial a 25 por hora me facilitaría estabilidad económica y emocional.
In total, my expenses for a basic life are just too high. For these reasons, I need a raise urgently. A raise to $25 an hour would allow me to be financially and emotionally stable.
Gracias.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All righty, Jim, that's all the speakers? Great, thank you very much. Move ahead. We're now going to proceed with the votes on the items for the board's consideration. As chair of the Committee on Operations, I'll now present 2 items. The first item authorizes 2 7-year leases with British Airways and Air France for Terminal B lounges at Newark Liberty International, which were a result of a competitive solicitation process. As part of the new leases, British Airways and Air France will invest a combined minimum of $11.5 million to refurbish and expand the passenger lounge. Prior to making a motion, are there any recusals? Any questions or comments from the commissioners? Motion, please.
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Chairman O'Toole?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Linford?
Yes.
Commissioner Bolwage?
Yes.
Commissioner Eve?
Yes.
Commissioner Fine?
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe?
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson?
Yes.
Commissioner Rosado?
Yes.
Commissioner LaBarbera is a yes. The votes are in order. This item's been approved. The next item authorizes a negotiated 7-year lease with LA Campagna for a lounge at Terminal B at Newark Liberty Airport. As part of the new lease, They will invest a minimum of $1.9 million to renovate and enhance the passenger lounge. Prior to making a motion, I ask if there's any recusals.
There are none.
Any questions or comments from the commissioners? Motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Chairman O'Toole?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Linford?
Yes.
Commissioner Bollwage?
Yes.
Commissioner Eve?
Yes.
Commissioner Fine?
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe?
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson?
Yes.
Commissioner Rosado?
Yes.
Commissioner LaBarber's a yes. Carries. They're in order. Item's been approved. Vice Chair, as the Chair of Committee on Capital and Execution, will now provide his report before presenting items for consideration.
Thank you. I will now report on an item under the committee's purview. This item, which was presented by our Director of Aviation Redevelopment in public session earlier today, authorizes additional planning in the amount of $35 million in support of the redevelopment of Terminal B at Newark Liberty International Airport for total planning costs of $55 million. Prior to making a motion on this item, I ask the Corporate Secretary to note any commissioner recusals on this matter.
There are none.
Thank you. Do any of the commissioners have questions or comments on this item?
Just a real quick comment, Vice Chair. Terminal B, big news this week. Want to thank Jackie McCarthy and folks in aviation. This is putting a stake in the ground. Terminal B's live, and this is going to really be transformative in what's happening at Newark Airport. Great job. Looking forward to this thing unfold, and it's going to follow in the footsteps of LaGuardia and JFK and Terminal A.
And Terminal A.
That's right. I
Very
didn't forget
good.
Terminal A.
Okay.
Vice Chair, thank you.
I now request a motion on this item.
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. I request the Corporate Secretary to call the roll for voting on this item.
Chairman O'Toole?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Linford?
Yes.
Commissioner Bollwage?
Yes.
Commissioner Eve?
Yes.
Commissioner Fine?
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe?
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson?
Yes.
Commissioner Rosado?
Yes.
And Commissioner LaBarber?
LaBarber's a yes.
I was yes, okay.
As the votes are in order, the item is approved, and I return it to our august chairman.
Thank you very much. There being no further business, we move to adjourn.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We'll see everybody in 3
Aye.
weeks. Watch Rick Cotton's expression on that one. 3 weeks, we'll be back.
November 14th.
Yes, thank you very much. Have a safe trip home.
Thanks, all.